guys already know this is the main one tapping in all the way from H-Town, Houston, Texas. I'm here with my boy T.A.G.
T.A.G.
T.A.G, very nice, very evil.
Well, that's T.A.G shit.
The only thing we're gonna do is take over, baby.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really.
What up, T.A.G Nation, and welcome to the last NXT.A.G of 2025. Man, can y'all believe that the year is pretty much over? Like, we got one more day and then it's boom, 2026. Like, that is crazy to think. But yeah, let's get into it. NXT is the last one of the year. You know, they're pretty much letting you know that next week, of course, is New Year's Evil. They had the year-end awards as well. And let's roll into it. Your first match is for the North American Championship. T.A.G defending against TNA's Moose. I had no issues with this match. I think the beef I had with this match was they didn't build it up to let you think that could Moose finally, you know, I ain't say finally, could Moose get that belt up off of T.A.G? You know, other than the Hardys, could another TNA superstar rock NXT Gold? Like, they didn't do a good enough job to me letting you know that Moose could be the one to dethrone T.A.G. But it was still a solid match through and through. Now, the end of the match, Moose took a nasty back bump on the steel steps to where, like, his lower back caught the corner. Now, I don't know if that was supposed to happen. It was just Moose landed awkwardly or whatever, but it looked painful. It looked painful to see that. Like, it didn't look like that was like a ooh, because when I tell you that match ended pretty shortly afterwards. Like, he hit, then Ethan did something, went for the pin, then picked him up, twisted grin, 1, 2, 3, T.A.G retains. And that was pretty much it. Like, that was it. There was no thrills, no frills. It was literally, that was it. It was like, oh, okay, well, all right. You know, it was like, all right, well, I guess on to the next thing, which, like I was saying, they was also doing the year-end awards. So they did the male superstar of the year. Javon Evans was your winner. He did a little speech, you know, thanking the crowd, you know, saying that, you know, you thought 2025 was good for your boy, you know, wait till 2026. And, you know, like the missus and I was talking, Javon's energy just makes him to where it's like, how can you hate the guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you dislike Javon Evans? Like, his energy is infectious to where it's like, I fucks with him. Then we had a little segment of the Cullen, and pretty much Izzy was going to address Tatum, and Nico and Spears was like, nah, we ain't coming to the ring. They was like, nah, you ain't see the crash outs that Tatum was having towards us. So they was like, you got it, big dog. You got it, fam. So when it comes from commercial break, we see that Kendall Gray is beaten up backstage. Ren is like, well, what's going on? What happened? And, you know, yeah, so it looks like Ren's gonna have to go it alone when she challenges JC Jane later on. Then we get Izzy's segment with Tatum, and she's pretty much regurgitating some of the same stuff with Izzy. And Tatum finally comes out and They're having a match in New Year's Evil. Surprisingly, there's no stipulation to it, but they're having a match in New Year's Evil. So, it wasn't a bad interaction they was having with each other, but considering the fallout happened when it happened, and then they already had a match, it's kind of like, but pretty much Tatum was kind of like, it ain't over till I say it's over type of thing. Izzy tried to attack Tatum. Tatum reversed it, hit it with the cemetery drive. So we'll see when a match happens next year. Yeah, well, it will be next year. Next week, next year. Yeah, it's all one and the same. Then they gave out the award for the tag team of the year. It went to Zaruka. That is, of course, Zarya and Zaruka. And in case you're wondering, I didn't write down all the nominees, so that's why I'm just announcing the winners. But Zaruka won NXT Tag Team of the Year. Then we get to it. JC Jane, of course, with Fallon and Laney. I almost called her something else, y'all. Versus Ren. She was supposed to have Kendall, but hey, it's just Ren. Ren put up a decent fight, especially knowing the fact that she had to contend with Fallon and Laney on the outside. Ren put up a good fight, but ultimately she succumbed to the rolling the rolling encore. And yeah, while they was beating up Ren, Kendall does come out. I want to say she did kind of fight off, but I want to say they got beat up too, right? No, so they did successfully fight them. Okay, so yeah, they successfully fought off Fatal Influence. So, and once again, next week / next year, Kendall Gray is taking on JC Jane for the NXT Women's Champion. Because remember, Kendall Gray was the Iron Survivor. Then we move along to the Joe Hendry concert. And Joe Hendry's concert was pretty much kind of wrapping up everything that went down on New Year's Eve. Not New Year's Eve, sorry, 2025. You know, pretty much, you know, him winning the TNA championship, him being in the Rumble, him fighting Randy Orton at Mania, him embarrassing the Miz on Saturday night's main event. You know, he was singing about certain wrestlers. He sung about Trick. He sung about Ricky Saints. And he eventually sung about Dark State. And it was you kind of say the opposite. It was say their names, and you know they appear. But at the same time, Tony D'Angelo was watching too. So I don't know if Dark State just beat Tony D to the punch type of energy, but Dark State come out there and put the paws on Mr. Hendry. You know what I'm saying? It was a 4-on-1 beatdown, and yeah, it wasn't nothing Mr. Hendry could do but just take that beat down, y'all. So yeah. Then we get to a segment with Ava and Blake. Well, Blake was in Ava's office, and she was pretty much saying, Blake was telling Ava, I don't want the same referee. And she was like, you know what? I'll try to make that happen. And she was like, if you really want your championship back, how about the glamour really, show up next week instead of, doing this, what you're doing. And I guess that gives her the little spark / inspiration. Then after it comes from commercial break, they had many TNA stars and a few NXT stars picking who was going to win between Oba and Leon Slater for next week. Pretty much the TNA people went for Leon, the NXT people went for Oba. Kind of, if you really want to just put it in perspective, that's how that went. But yes, next week, Oba Femi is taking on TNA's X Division champion Leon Slater for the NXT championship. So then we get the finals to the speed tournament to determine who's going to go against Jasper Troy. You had Tavion Heights taking on Lexus King. And as soon as the bell rings, bars, Tavion hits that spinning belly to belly, wins in 8 seconds flat. Yeah, they spent more time. Like this match went to commercial break because Tavion's entrance was before commercial break. Then they had the segment of the people choosing who's gonna win between Oba and Leon. Then Lexus had to come out. Bell rings again. That's literally how that went, y'all. Yeah. And then Jasper Troy comes out. He's staring at Tavion, and they didn't announce when their match was going to be, but we know Jasper Troy is going to take on Tavion Heights for the Men Speed Championship. So there we go. Then they had the match of the year announced, and the winner was Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Trick Willie at Stand and Deliver. When they went at it for the NXT Championship, that was voted the match of the year by the fans. And then it wasn't 100% a squash match, but boy, I wish it was. OTM took on Swipe Right. OTM is Lucian Price and Bronco Nima. Swipe Right of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. OTM beat their asses. Don't get me wrong. I just wish it was more of a squash. I just wish that Swipe Right didn't really get no offense in. You know what I'm saying? Type of energy. But at one point, Jackson Drake was jumping in, but he was getting his ass beat too. But pretty much OTM handled pretty much the whole Vanity Project. Let's just say so. But yeah, OTM gets that dub. Then we get Thea Hale and Jordan Grace, and Jordan was back there saying, Thea, I thought your championship celebration was cool until Blake comes out, and she's like, yeah, and pretty much trying to offer some encouragement going into 2026, and pretty much kind of let Thea know that, hey, you got this. And Thea was like, oh no, Jordan Grace is trying to be positive, and she's like, and she was like, I want you to be out there with me next week. And she was like, I don't know. Remember last time when I was ringside, last time I was ringside for a fight. She was like, yeah, I know, I get it, but I would love to have you out there, especially too, to see the look, so that way you can see Blake cry again. And she was like, you know what? Fine, I'll do it. So yeah. Then we get to the female superstar of the year, and that goes to none other than Sol Ruka. I mean, she was champ. And she pretty much dominated up until, her injury. So yeah, Sol Ruka took on 2 awards. She was part of Tag Team of the Year and Female of the Year. And then we get to our main event of the evening. We get the grudge match between the young OG Javon Evans taking on absolute Ricky Saints. And this is so funny enough, right? When I had that same beef for Izzy and Tatum, back when, Izzy betraying Tatum for JC to win the belt again, and then for Izzy to feel, she could beat Tatum, it was like, well, why didn't you let Tatum retain and you take the belt up off of Tatum rather than you going against JC? That's kind of the same feeling I had with this one. If you were upset at the fact that Javon in essence leapfrogged you to get a shot before you can get a rematch, let Javon beat over, and that way you beat Javon. If you feel you have a better chance at beating Javon rather than you beating Oba again, let Javon win. And you just take out Javon. But no, that ain't how we see fit. But we're here. Now, for those who didn't know, Javon has been on AAA. He's been appearing on SmackDown, and he's been appearing on Raw. They've been kind of saying Javon is a free agent. And, he's just entertaining offers between Aldis and Pierce. So that's pretty much kind of what's been happening. So he's been floating. So, but they had a good match. this was a PLE quality match. Like, I'm not gonna even lie to y'all. Ultimately, the ref took OG cutter and he was out, which caused Ricky to low blow Javon, hit the Rochambeau. A new ref comes out. 1, 2, 3. Saints gets the dub. Now, that just pretty much kind of let me know that, yeah, Javon, thank you for your service in NXT. Welcome to either Raw or SmackDown. Especially too, with Trick has been doing the same thing. He's been going between Raw and SmackDown. Then they've been advertising Oba as well. So that leads me to believe, could it possibly be that Oba may lose to Leon Slater? And that way, that just frees up Oba. Or maybe Oba loses between now and possibly the Rumble, if he doesn't lose to Leon. And then, you know, from the Rumble on, Oba main roster. But Oba, Javon, and Trick have been pretty much main roster bound. And the way I look at this match, thank you for your service, Javon. Gone to Raw or SmackDown. But what's really crazy is the fact that they let Javon leave NXT without winning not one championship. Not the North American, not the NXT championship, tag team, nor speed. Like, that's crazy that, you know, Javon didn't get a chance to be a champion in NXT. Hell, even Heritage Cup when it was still there. Like, that's crazy that Javon served his whole NXT tenure and didn't get a chance to get a championship. But that was pretty much NXT. Like, it was a pretty simple show. You know, they're mainly bookmarking the end of the year to letting you know when the New Year's Evil, because like I said, Lacey Jane, Kendall Gray, NXT Women's Championship, Obafemi, Leon Slater, NXT Championship, Thea Hale, Blake Monroe for the Women's North American Championship, Tatum versus Izzy, and there was another match announced for New Year's Evil, and it has slipped my mind. But yeah, NXT. I would just say, you know, overall, I thought NXT was pretty enjoyable. I honestly had a very good time watching NXT in 2025, especially on the CW, especially seeing the rising stars, the rising talents. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And I cannot wait to see what they do in 26. I cannot wait to see what they do in 2026. But yeah, and once again, thank y'all, because, you know, I started this in 25. So thank y'all for tuning in out there. You know, much appreciated. You know, the fact that I was able to sit here and talk about NXT at length rather than, you know, give a quick little because, you know, I do love this brand. I do love NXT, y'all. But yeah, whether you love it or hate it, don't forget to rate it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, like, share, comment, subscribe. After you do all of that, make sure you hit the notification bell so you can be notified for anything we post on the channel. Shout outs to the Brody, shout outs to the brethren, Look Bizzle, Yoga Bombastic, Juggernaut, and Kicking It with Leo. Shout outs to the fellas, shout outs to y'all out there. Hey, it's 2025. We at the end. We're about to embark on this new adventure of 2026, y'all. And I can't wait to see what wrestling provides for us in 2026. What promotion it is, what show, I just cannot wait to see what wrestling provides for us in 2026, because we're going to be there for the ride. And we want y'all to be there with us. But love, yourself, love one another, take care of yourself, take care of one another. And until next time, you beautiful, beautiful people out there, don't forget to tag out. Peace.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama.